How Prada's initial ban on female employees almost doomed it, and how women eventually turned it into a billion-dollar success. Prada is an Italian luxury fashion house founded in 1913 in Milan. It is considered one of the most valuable brands in the world and specializes in leather handbags, travel accessories, shoes, ready-to-wear, and other fashion accessories. But did you know Prada, one of the most iconic brands in the fashion industry, almost collapsed until one woman came around, and before her, Prada banned female employees. So how did Prada's initial ban on female employees almost doom it? And was it saved thanks to the ending of that female ban? Let's get into it. But first, a reminder to subscribe if you enjoy remarkable true stories like this. Origins. In 1914, the story began when Prada, one of the most impactful fashion houses in Italian history, was born in the Galleria Vittorio of Milan, founded by Mario Prada and his brother Martina as a leather goods store. The company was called Fratelli Prada, which stands for Prada Brothers. In the very start, when leather was in fashion, the shop sold leather products, imported leather streamers, luggage, and handbags among other leather goods. In 1919, Prada was granted the special honor of supplying to the Italian royal house due to the quality of their products, which was a significant achievement for such a young company. Due to this significant distinction, Prada was permitted to use the House of Savoy coat of arms and the knotted rope design in their trademark logo. Moreover, Prada was a symbol of Italian aristocracy, which makes learning about Prada's past all the more interesting. Unfortunately, due to the patriarchal culture at the time, Mario Prada did not believe that women should have a place in business, so he excluded women family members from working for the company. Ironically, his only son had no interest in joining the family business when Mario Prada ran the company until his death in 1958. The female legacy. Then in the 1950s, the family firm began to experience difficulties, but one of his daughters, Luisa Prada, eventually took over the business in 1958, when no one else stepped forward after Mario Prada passed away. She worked as CEO for the company from 1958 to 1978, running the family business for almost 20 years. Female leadership at Prada did not end with Luisa, and after her unsuccessful resign, she passed the throne to her daughter, Maria Bianici, in 1978, who was known later in her career as Miuccia Prada. In 1970, she joined the Prada family business and rose to run one of the business's two remaining stores. When she became the company's CEO in 1978, it had only one store left, and the company's annual revenue at the time she joined was only $450,000. Then, she hired Patrizio Bertelli, an Italian leather goods manufacturer she had met the year before at a trade show, where he was marketing Fratelli Prada knockoffs, and she collaborated with him to launch innovations that paved the way for the company's expansion. Bertelli had a side business selling leather goods, and Miuccia was one of his customers, but he had a sharp business mind, so he quickly rose to the position of business manager. Later in 1987, they married, and their partnership took the history of Prada in a new and more successful direction. Prada's comeback. After that, in 1979, Miuccia originally presented the now iconic waterproof nylon fabric handbag style to the world, but the line did not instantly become popular. The bags were made of durable military-grade cloth, but there was no branding on them. Then, the company added footwear to their expanded product line, and fortunately, its first women's shoes collection was well received. Later, Miuccia made the decision to revisit her concept with a branded approach, so she introduced a line of designer handbags in 1985. In these bags, she added a chain strap and the triangular Prada logo to the exterior. These bags were a commercial success because they combined sturdiness and slickness. The handbag's high cost led to an overabundance of designer knockoffs flooding the market. This did nothing more than raise demand for authentic designer items. Due to their similarity to the more expensive leather Chanel purses, they soon became popular among the fashion elite, and sales of the Bikini handbag skyrocketed. From bags to shoes. After the great success, Prada expanded its direct-owned retail network into additional markets across the world as the business flourished and gained greater fame. In 1984, Prada began opening new signature stores and boutiques in Milan, as well as other major cities around the world. They were decorated in a special shade of green, and because of their distinctive design, these new stores were nicknamed Green Sauce, also known as Prada Green. The first green store opened in Milan's Via della Sbriga, earning the color the moniker Brighter Green. After that, boutiques opened in London, Madrid, Tokyo, and Paris. Earnings rose to $1 billion. In 1989, Prada then presented its Prêt-à-porter collection on the runway. They used simple, elegant goods with luxurious fabrics and basic colors. The fashion industry also took note, which led to an increase in demand for the most well-known designer goods. After that, Prada continuously expanded its store network, and by 1996, it had more than 40,000 stores worldwide. The company's revenue had increased by $647 million by 1987, and Florida embarked on an ambitious acquisition strategy over the next 2 years. The company began purchasing shares in opponent fashion houses such as Gucci and Fendi. Prada's status as the international fashion corporation was raised as the result of this acquisition. Over the next few years, the company's revenue rose to $1 billion. At the end of a decade, Prada emerged as the casual luxury brand and quickly came to be associated with successful working women who were intelligent and self-assured, and with time, its revenue increased. A sudden misfortune. Unfortunately, the acquisitions were extremely expensive, and Prada suffered a significant debt as a result. But Ellie, the CEO, attempted to raise funds by floating 30% of the company on the Milan Stock Exchange in 2001. However, the proposal was cancelled because the demand for luxury brands was declining, and markets were still struggling after the September 11, 2001 terrorist attack in the United States. Therefore, due to a lack of alternatives, the company was forced to sell some of its acquisitions. Some difficult and bold decisions had to be made, and by 2006, Prada had sold its stake in Fendi to Louis Vuitton and had liquidated the Helmut Lang as well as its Jill Sanders neighbors. The 21st century of Prada. Surprisingly, the decision to sell these acquisitions and concentrate more on building the brand's own client base proved to be a genius goal. This helped the company recover from the debt crisis, and by the end of 2010, the company reported very high revenues. In that same year, Prada's revenue reached a high of $2.9 billion and remained on an upward trend for the next 3 years. The company ultimately listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange after 10 years of seeking to go public in order to raise $2.14 billion. And in 2015, Prada had a revenue of $3.7 billion. Today, the fashion brand house has also established its presence in emerging luxury markets such as China and Russia. As part of its long-term growth strategy, the company is also planning to enter the African market. Prada's ability to combine creative energy with consumer needs continues to be a key strength that makes the company one of the most sought-after brands in the fashion industry. This is the story of Prada, that is considered one of the most powerful brands in the world, with annual sales of more than $5 billion. All this is because of the hard work of Mauricia, who has turned her grandfather's life's work into a multi-billion-dollar powerhouse. What's your opinion about her self-belief and hard work? And are there any other details you'd like to add to this video? Please let us know in the comment box. And if you'd like to see more inspiring business videos, make sure to subscribe to our channel.